And Frank will be presenting in a moment, but for those of you who do not yet know Frank, I'll give you a very brief introduction. Frank is the founder and leader for IPM Day. He's written numerous leadership and project management books and articles. He is an internationally known speaker and presenter and past president for the New York City PMI chapter. He was the 2006 PMI Person of the Year. He's a senior consultant and trainer for the International Institute of Learning, and he's held positions at AT&T and Cisco Systems. He's been a friend and mentor of mine for years, and he is probably very anxious to talk to you now, so I'll turn it over to Frank.
Okay, Kay, thanks a lot. Kay happens to be in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and actually I think she's enjoying more of a spring than I am in New York, where it's about 40 degrees here in New York City. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I've been around in project management for a while, and I'm deeply involved in PMI, and the idea behind International Project Management Day is, again, is about the fact that we're dealing with a kind of an interesting situation. Project managers do extremely important work, and it has been my opinion over the years that although there's not much that you can do in life, and most of the things that are around us are the result of projects and project managers, that there really hasn't been a true understanding of what project managers do, and also there really hasn't been an appreciation. So what we'll talk about today, and we'll get through this, I think, rather quickly so that we can exchange some questions and comments and some ideas. But Kay has explained to you the use of group chat, and we do have a capability to go to microphones, but with so many people, it would be kind of difficult to control that. So in the future, I think we're going to experiment with that to have a more interactive type of a program. The agenda, we'll start with a bit of a welcome. I'll give you some background and why we have International Project Management Day. And we have a number of things going on to build the momentum to move forward. Each year we see more and more events that we are talking about, how do you go to the next step for International Project Management Day. And the reason that this is important is, I've been a member of PMI since 1990, and right now the current membership in PMI is about 342,000 people. And if you're familiar with the International Project Management Association, which is primarily in the Europe area, what they have is approximately, and I'm guessing on this from things that I've seen recently, somewhere between 100,000 and 200,000 members. If you put that all together, you only have a little over 500,000 people that belong to an actual professional project management organization. And statistics show us that there are somewhere between 15 and 20 million people that are engaged in managing or working on projects. So if you think about 500,000 and compare that to 15 to 20 million, which I have here is a very small part of the entire international project management community, and we'd like to build on that, expand on that, and get more people connected. We will talk a little bit about some volunteer opportunities to help us get the message out about International Project Management Day. We have some future plans that we're considering, and we'd like to hear your ideas on how we can do that. And then we will have some interactive exchange of ideas through the chat, and Kay will act as the moderator and relay questions to me. And in order to keep this interactive, I may be asking Kay to relay some questions to me during the actual formal part of this presentation. And that way we at least we'll start to hear from other people and other ideas. Now, first thing I want to do is thank you for attending. It's 9 o'clock in the morning here in New York City. It happens to be Good Friday. I am very sensitive to that. Kay and I were speaking about this earlier. It happens to be, no matter what day you pick for anything, webinar or meeting or something, that it will be probably a holiday somewhere around the world or some other event that will conflict with an event that's scheduled. So we understand the international environment. I know some of you are up very early, or some of you are up very late, but we will arrange these types of conferences to accommodate people around the world, to make it convenient, and we're very sensitive to the whole international environment. As you know, and many of you that are on here are either project managers, you supervise project managers, maybe you train project managers, that the community is very unique. And what I say is that the project manager community does make a big difference in any organization. It doesn't matter if you're in government, if you're in the private sector, if you're a nonprofit organization, that there is very little that you can see or do that has not in some way been touched by a project. I do a presentation entitled Architecting the Future Through Project Management, and my first slide happens to be a picture of the New York City skyline. And my quote that goes along with that is that you can see the value of project management in any skyline. And if you think about it, if we didn't have someone planning and people managing projects, we wouldn't have these magnificent skylines around the world, these unbelievable buildings and so on. But we also have anything like your smartphone. That was the result of someone's project. That you will find projects in the medical field, okay, in government, in municipalities, even in the military. There is government. There's project management everywhere. But one of the things that I have found is that when it comes to people understanding what project managers do, and even project managers explaining to their friends and their family what they do, it's sometimes difficult. And a lot of things that project managers do is taken for granted. So IPM Day focuses on recognition and acknowledgement. Some people call it a celebration, but it is not really a celebration. It is simply taking the time, because I know project managers, I've met project managers all around the world, and the job is very unique, and they spend hours and hours working with people. Many people are very difficult to work with. There's long hours involved. There is pressure. There is risk. There are so many different things that it makes the job itself very challenging. And in many cases, the thanks that a project manager gets happens to be another project. So you know the old saying that no good work will ever be left unpunished. And that means they'll get you more work. So I just wanted to make sure that we set aside some time for people to show some appreciation, but also for project managers to really feel good about themselves and the accomplishments that they do. Because even though we do have problems on projects, and in fact there are programs called troubled projects or rescuing troubled projects and things like that. The idea here is that most project managers are striving for success, and they work with people and they become leaders of teams to do just that. So that's what the whole idea of International Project Management Day is about. Some real history here is that I was attending the Project Management Institute Leadership Masters class, and my professor, Jerry Brightman, said that when his goal in this program was an 18-month leadership program was to have us as the students go out and do something to change the world. And you know, that sounds like a pretty bold statement, but I kept thinking about that. Well, what could we do to change the world? What could I do? And I came up with this idea, well, let's have International Project Management Day. So it began in 2004, and it has been growing and growing ever since. You'll see that on my slide here it says project management is the unappreciated profession. There are people who believe that project management is not a profession, that it's more of a discipline, or it's a process. And those of you that are professional project managers may not necessarily agree with that. Well, but let's say for our purposes that we are focused on the professional project manager, and that I really do believe that if you look back in history, there have always been projects. And in many cases, we never think about the people who actually organized and planned and made sure that the project was built. We pretty much look upon what was completed. So there are many landmarks around the world. You know, in New York City we have the Empire State Building. In Australia you have the Opera Center. In China you have the Great Wall of China, things like that. All of these are projects, and you have to start thinking about, well, how were they planned and how were they completed, and what went into it, and so on. So I feel that there's a need to raise awareness about the value project managers bring to their organizations, and the key word happens to be value. And I associate that with leadership. And I do a lot of reading and studying about leadership. And one of the authors that well, there's two authors in general that are coming to mind here. One is John C. Maxwell, and the other is Kevin Cashman. And I've done a bunch of research using their material. They focus on something called authentic leadership. And authentic leadership is about creating value, okay? You know, we think about what we'll call the characteristics of leaders, and we think of leaders as people who are great communicators, that they have charisma, that they have vision, that they can motivate, and so on. But authentic leadership is really not about having people follow you or anything like that. It is simply about you personally doing something that is going to create value not only for yourself but for your organization and for your clients. So I want to make this connection between project manager and authentic value through leadership. And of course the focus is on acknowledging the dedication and perseverance of project managers. I think most of you that are project managers have dealt with situations with people who are resistant to what you're doing. The basic nature of people is to resist change. And I use a quote in classes a lot that every project is a change and every change is a project. And in many cases people will push back on those projects, and it's the perseverance of the project manager that actually helps projects to come to a successful completion. So these are all the kinds of things that we have put together in terms of the purpose of International Project Management Day. Now, everyone that's involved in International Project Management Day at this time is a volunteer. This is not a corporation. It's not even an organization. It is simply a group of people that think that it's worth trying to get the message out about project management. And it's not just project management. I have to be careful about that. There is portfolio management, there's program management, and I'd like to bring that all under the heading of project management. Okay, so so what we have here is some volunteers. Okay, Kay, would you just verify that you can still hear me okay?
I can still hear you, and we see the slide you're talking about.
Great, okay. We are volunteers. My name is Frank Saladis. I live in New York City. Kay Weiss happens to be in La Crosse. Dima, and I'm not sure how to pronounce everybody's name, so forgive me on that. Muyar is in Jordan. Laura Frazier is up in Canada. Brian Monroe is also in Canada. And Jean-Baptiste Catty is residing in India, and he just came on board recently. In addition, we have people that are basically around the world who have volunteered to organize events and obtain local proclamations. One of the things that really got started going back in 2005, the International Institute for Learning, specifically a person by the name of Judy Umlis, actually said, let's go to the mayor of the city and see if we can get a proclamation. And we did get Mayor Bloomberg in New York City to issue a proclamation every year for International Project Management Day, proclaimed in the city of New York. Since then, we've had proclamations in multiple places: San Antonio, Texas, even La Crosse, Wisconsin, places around the world, and we've been building and building on these events by these what we call unofficial volunteers. So the idea has caught on. It is international, We are not, like I said, an organized entity yet, but we're moving in that direction. And we're looking for more people to help us to get the word out, and we'll talk a little bit more about the volunteers. Now, before I go forward, Kay, have there been any questions or anything that I can address before we move forward?
Well, there have been a couple of interesting comments, and one of them comes from Miles Miller, and he's just restating and supporting your statement that project managers are unique, extraordinary, and necessary. And one more kind of technical question for Mark was he was wondering if we can make your slide set available in PDF files and distribute that.
No problem with that. I mean, if they can find use in these slides, absolutely. And Miles, I've known Miles for many years. He and I were on the board of directors for the Project Management Institute Education and Training Specific Interest Group. So Miles, thank you for joining us.
Great. And also we have a statement from Sandro Severoni, and he is from Rome, Italy. And he's just saying that he notes that project management is not an appreciated profession. He said, I believe it is strongly related to not completely mature project management-oriented organizations in most of the companies, and even the largest and the most internationally oriented companies. So until we as project managers, we have to fight with permanent functionality, function-oriented organizations, and we could feel this kind of professional frustration. So thank you for organizing this event.
Yeah, and there are a number of good points there, and I think that we have to stress one thing, and this is important for project managers. It's actually part of the message I think we need to get out to people, and that is that he mentioned the maturity of project management. Even though project management has been around for literally thousands of years, if you go back to some of the structures that were built years and years ago, pyramids and the Great Wall and so on, if formal project management really was not introduced until truly into the 1940s, okay, and it became more of a military function in many cases. And since then, it has matured in more and more processes, but I think that we're going to struggle until project managers understand that we have to be flexible, that we have to take on leadership position, that we have to manage change effectively, and that a rigid process is in many cases resisted by lots of organizations. So although we need a process for project management, we have to continue to focus on the maturity of project management so that, as Dr. Harold Kersner says, okay, and I support, is that project management is directly related to and can be combined with business management, and we want to make sure that that people understand that. So we do have a ways to go yet, and there is a lot of what we'll call professional frustration. Now, we have some things that are going on here with International Project Management Day, and we're building up some additional momentum. Kay Wise actually started this idea, the Sister City program, which would basically arrange to have different countries, and I think was specifically started with PMI chapters, but it doesn't have to be, where different cities would connect with other cities, start to exchange some cultural issues, and begin to exchange ideas and things like that, so that we can actually create a very well linked international community. Kate, did you want to make any comments about the Sister City program?
No, just that Laura Frazier is really taking that and into new, better directions this year, so I think it will really take off in 2012.
Yeah, and the idea again is it's the international connection, and you might hear me mention this a few times. What we're really trying to do is I know it's a big task, but you have to have a vision that there is a way through technology and lots of different methods to link up with these millions of project managers around the world. And one of my visions is that on International Project Management Day every year, there would be some significant connection amongst project managers around the world, that other people that are not project managers would actually take notice of. So I need you to kind of use your imagination and start to come up with ways that how do you connect such a large community and make a statement about, hey, we actually do provide value, and take a look at what we do. One of the things that I think that is important here is that if you ask yourself, when children are being asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? How many children actually say, I want to be a project manager? And I'm going to venture to guess that you probably never heard a child say, that's what I want to be when I grow up. They want to be firemen and astronauts and presidents and whatever. But the question is, why not? And that, again, gets back to the fact that a lot of people just take the job for granted and don't fully understand it. And it can be an extremely exciting and rewarding position. So we need to build momentum on that. We have a logo that's under development. We're probably going to see a design on that in the next week or so. There is an event media kit that you can get at the IPM Day website, www.internationalpmday.org, and that DVD has a brief video that has been developed that I give you a little background about what International Project Management Day is. There is also a little presentation on Leadership with a View, which is a book that I put together, which is more of a kind of a book of photos and inspirational quotes. And of course, if you haven't heard it, on the DVD is the Project Manager Blues, the song that I wrote and sang and recorded about basically the story of the project manager. It's on YouTube also, so after this presentation today, you should go up on YouTube and listen to the Project Manager Blues. We just had a request yesterday or the day before for someone they're having an internal project management day event at their company, and they wanted to play the blues as the start. So I think you'll have some fun just listening to that particular song. What we have is a new website that we're planning to develop and build and make it more interesting and more interactive. And of course, this is the first of many webinars that we plan to have in the coming years. What's on the horizon is because we are looking for people who are volunteers, and many people who are volunteers have a credential, a PMP credential, are looking for PDUs, professional development units. So I've reached out to a couple of organizations. I've got one organization so far that has stepped up and said that they would work with us to provide PDUs. So you will get rewarded for any work that you do with the International International Project Management Day. We're trying to form what we'll call a direction, through the direction of a board of directors, a more organized entity, and we're exploring the not-for-profit approach. And not that we want to do anything that's going to compete with PMI or the International Project Management Association or any of the many training organizations, but everything that we're doing is solely being done by volunteers. We have no budget. We really don't have much in the way of sponsors and support. And one way to generate some support and maybe some revenue to do some actual physical events would be to find a way to get interest through a not-for-profit type of entity. So we're looking at that. And I was on seminars at sea just recently from Galveston down to Cozumel, Mexico. 2 days of seminars, 2 days of fun. I spoke to the organizer down there, and again, this is my imagination at work. Imagine having an International Project Management Day event at sea. So these are the kinds of things that we're thinking about doing. If you look at the International Project Management Day environment, what we're doing here, this is kind of like the future environment, that we would have a board, an executive board that would help us to find ways to link with organizations around the world, promote the recognition and acknowledgement of project managers, that we would have some directors that would handle the volunteer programs, that we would have committee members that would handle many of the different administrative functions that we are looking for, that we would connect with the local event volunteers that are ranging for events at their own companies, at their own organizations. For instance, I'm not really sure. I have to look back at the website, but I think that there were at least 15 different international events last year, large events last year, about International Project Management Day, and we would like to know more about those events, post those, get some photos, people really getting involved in this idea of recognition, acknowledgement of project managers. And then, of course, if we come up with some interesting programs or projects that we would want to get some project managers to help us with that. The goal is, for me, and this is another kind of a vision, that we would have a team-organized International Project Management Day event somewhere. And my thoughts revolved around, initially, a few years back, I said, wouldn't it be great to have an event, an actual IPM Day conference, say in Epcot Center in Disney, which is kind of international in that if you walk around Epcot Center, you will find that it is many, many countries around the world are represented. We could also think about an event someplace in Europe or even in Asia, but the dream here is basically to do something through this organized team, to have a major event that really proclaims the value of project management. So those are the kinds of things that we're thinking about. Okay, if we think about the local front, and what that means is that there are people around the world in various companies, and I just received an email just a few days ago from Panama, and they are organizing an International Project Management Day event, and they were looking for some help with that. And we also found that I believe I think it's Switzerland is creating an event, and they were asking for some questions. They were asking some questions about that. So people are getting started early now in planning for events to take place in November. We have multiple PMI chapters doing things. I was the keynote speaker for the New Jersey chapter last year. In prior years, I've spoken at the San Antonio chapter and at the Newfoundland chapter up in Canada. And I've also spoken at an International Project Management Association event in November of last year in Finland. So there are lots and lots of opportunities, whether you're a PMI chapter, an IPMA chapter, or a corporation or a government entity of some sort, that there should be some way that you can hold an event. And it does not have to be a major event. It can be a simple gathering of coffee and cake or donuts, and simply hand out some certificates of recognition or appreciation to project managers and project teams. Many training providers are looking into doing something with International Project Management Day, and of particular note would be the International Institute for Learning, and I do lots and lots of work with them. And they have really adopted the whole idea of International Project Management Day and have, since 2005, presented a major event. Last year and the year before, they have a virtual conference, and this virtual conference last year, they had over 30,000 people register for. So you want to look for these kinds of events out there that are being done. And the event is entirely free, and you were able to get up to, I'm not sure how many PDUs. I think there may be about 20 to 25 or more PDUs for attending this virtual event. So regardless of what organization you belong to, there is some way that you could take the time to recognize project managers and show appreciation for that work. And you all know that many project managers are working upwards of 60 and 70 hours a week at times. Another thing that we can do is to encourage people to get the government proclamations. As an example, the Las Vegas chapter, well, actually not just Las Vegas chapters, but the chapters in the Vegas area in Nevada are all focusing their attention on obtaining proclamations not only from the governor but from their local municipalities through their mayors to proclaim the day as International Project Management Day. So let's keep a focus on that. Think about how can you reach out to your local government, get a proclamation. That will help to raise awareness about the day, and also start people thinking about, wow, you know, project management, there really is something to it. Maybe I should look into it a little bit more. Now, a few other things that we're doing would be that I thought it would be a great idea to start to focus on an area that maybe should get a little bit more attention, but women in project management. If I go back to my first time going to a PMI event, it was back in 1990 in Calgary, Canada, and there were 600 people attending what was known as PMI's seminars and symposiums. And I would say that of the 600 people that were there, 590 of them were men. And you know, that was kind of an interesting situation. But since then, if you look around you now in the project management profession, that we have a significant population of women, and women are making a big difference. So I thought it would be a good idea to start to really show that recognition. So part of IPM Day 2012 will be about the recognition of women in project management. And another area, and this is where we could really use a lot of help, and that is reaching out to people to start to educate the young people about project management. And by young people, I'm talking about people in grammar school and in high school. And you have to think about this, that if you are a professional project manager and you are really working through this, and this is your career, that many of the skills that you have learned are what we're going to call life skills. And wouldn't it be great to actually have young people start thinking about planning and developing scope and understanding leadership and schedules and taking on responsibility and motivating team members and overseeing things. All of these elements of project management would be great for the youth to start to understand and to develop further, so that they become much stronger contributors and leaders in their communities. So these are two other ideas that we're thinking about in connection with International Project Management Day. What we need are volunteers. We need multiple volunteers. We need people who help us to manage the volunteers and keep the volunteers moving forward and support them when they have questions and so on. That we really need a webmaster, someone that's going to help us turn the website. Even though this website is great, we can certainly move it up to another level. We need people to get news briefs out and things like that. Help people to get proclamations. We have someone working on the Sister City program, but certainly we would want more people to work with us on that. How to use social media to get the word out. Making sure that we keep up with our database. Right now, Kay, I think we have a little over 2,000 people registered with the website. Is that true?
Yeah, I think it's over 2,200 now. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we'd like to build that up and really work with them. And again, we're sensitive to the fact that everybody has a lot of work to do, and that you get a lot of emails. So our news briefs will not be that frequent, but we want to make sure that the news briefs, when they do go out, are important, that they're worth reading. They'll be kept relatively short and focused on this area of recognition and the value of project management. And of course, we have a special project right now, which happens to be the logo development. So this webinar here is kind of like to tell you, yeah, IPM Day is growing, and we want to continue the momentum. We're reaching out to get some other people involved to help us out, and we see bigger and bigger and better things coming in the future. Right now, it's just a handful of us, about 6 of us total, and we're looking to see if we can find ways to build on that. The website, if you're familiar with it, www.internationalpmday.org, has a number of sections. There is the video, there's the PM Blues, there's the Leadership with a View, there are announcements. What we have is we've archived all of the events from the past. We are looking at, well, we have an acknowledgement section where people can post an acknowledgement. I suggested to Kay that we might want to change that to the MVPM, the Most Valuable Project Manager, and have a special place where if you feel someone has done such a great job, let's post them up on the website, give them a picture, and maybe even send them a certificate of appreciation from the International Project Management Day team. So you can find out how to obtain a proclamation. There is an interesting picture gallery there, and we're going to continue to add to that, but we could certainly use some help in developing and improving and making that website something very attractive that people would want to go to over and over and over again. Kay, any additional comments on the website that you want to bring up?
No, but if somebody's interested in a volunteer position where they just have a small task that they can do more in their own timing, as opposed to a big role, volunteering to take on one of the small sections of the website as a bit of an editor or a manager would be something that we could train them in very quickly, and they could call that part of the website their own.
Okay, so I think that that covers most of the things that we wanted to talk about. Going forward into the future, we do have the logo in progress. We'll probably post something on that relatively soon. We do need ideas for reaching that project manager community. And just to bring up something, last year the UK PMI chapter organized something called Synergy 2011. And they wanted to find a way to really connect a large part of the European PMI community together. And I'm kind of building on that idea that we need that synergy from around the world. So if you can come up with an idea on how to connect these project managers through some significant thing, and it could be multiple green projects around the world, community projects where we're trying to reduce pollution, save energy, green projects, education of young people, something that other people would truly take note of. That's what we're looking for. As far as planned events, there are events that are beginning to be formed. As I mentioned, the International Institute for Learning has their event every single year on International Project Management Day. Many PMI chapters are organizing events. Many companies are organizing events. As an example, Alcatel-Lucent does a sizable event every single year. So make sure that you find ways to get that message out there about the day. And even if it's a small event, tell us about it. Even if you're going to send greeting cards to a bunch of people with a thank you on it, or take some people out to lunch, that's something that will help us to show that we are appreciating and recognizing the value of project managers. So keep all these different things in mind, and if there's anything that you can think of that would help us to get the message out, please share those ideas with us. At this point, Kay, I maybe have a couple of questions that people have sent in, and we can have a bit of an exchange there.
Yes, there's some interesting ideas that have been coming in via the questions, and before I mention some of the questions, I want to give a special thank you to Frank Pollock, who has volunteered to help us with the website, and I'm sure that will be very valuable and much appreciated. We also have a question from Sandro about the associations outside of PMI that are recognizing IPM Day, and he mentioned specifically that Switzerland is the home country of IPMA and is wondering if there's some involvement there.
Okay, I think that the International Project Management Association runs several different international events around the world in that time frame. I couldn't answer with any great authority onto what the plans are. When I was in Finland in November of last year, I actually attended an International Project Management Association event. It was a congress, and I was one of the keynote speakers there. And that was actually a part of that PMI attended. The Finland chapter of PMI actually gave a 3-hour workshop in connection with that, so they were coordinated. So my recommendation would be to check with the leadership of IPMA and see what they are doing in connection with International Project Management Day, but they are very active in having many seminars and World Congress type of sessions. So I don't have anything I can give you specifically, But I think that what I'll do is I'll take an action item there to inquire with the IPMA and find out how we can join forces and find ways to promote the value of project management.
Another interesting question that's come in has been from Miles asking if there have been any efforts to get the White House and U.S. government to recognize IPM Day.
Well, no, I haven't done anything on that, but Miles, feel free to contact President Obama and ask him to help us with a proclamation. You know, I wasn't thinking of Obama, although you know, that's a pretty good idea. Could we get the president to look at? If you think about all the projects that are going on in the U.S. government, they're actually what we call mega projects. They're you know, in the billions of dollars, and the U.S., especially the Department of Defense, is focused very heavily on project management. So maybe that's something we should do, is at least get a letter to folks in the White House, on the staff, and at least let them know about what's going on. Maybe he'll make a comment. One thing, this is going to sound a little silly, but it really isn't. I actually was planning to get in touch with Donald Trump. And the reason I'm doing that, and I know people are probably, their eyes are rolling or something, but you know, Donald Trump was very successful in doing one thing. When he created the Apprentice show, he brought the title Project Manager into the living rooms of millions and millions of people. Now, granted, his approach to project management is maybe not the same as what we teach, but he has been a project manager all his life and in real estate, and I was actually thinking about getting him to say a few words about promoting project managers. So it sounds a little silly, but you know what? There's some potential there. But of course, Miles, if you want to help us out by drafting a letter to send to the White House staff to see if we can get Obama and his people on board, that would be a great idea.
The audio is not on, but Miles has responded that he will make inquiries at the White House on behalf of IPM Day. So that's very good. We also,
sounds good.
Yeah, I want to give a special thanks to a new volunteer, and that's Mark Bonemans, who is volunteering to help with our management of volunteers. And we also have a question from somebody asking if we can describe what we mean by the Sister City program in more detail.
Okay, well, Kay, you're probably a little bit more familiar with how all that works than I am. Could you take a minute and describe that?
Sure, and our vision for the Sister City program has been that it will connect events from around the world one-on-one via avenues such as Skype, where the two associations are partnered through our director of the Sister City program, who is Laura Frazier, who you can contact through our website. And she'll partner the two different events that are occurring with the idea that that will help bring some of the international into these local International Project Management Day celebrations. The two different locations would exchange some sort of cultural gift and then have a connection via Skype to each other's events, where they just do a brief introduction and have a friendly kind of conversation back and forth, and then they can establish an ongoing kind of friendly international relationship if they choose to do so after that fact. So there's a lot of flexibility in how this can be done, and Laura will be posting a lot more information to the website for those people who, and locations and associations and organizations that might be interested. So I would encourage you to watch for Laura's vision on how that will be happening.
And that vehicle would help us to reach out to many, many more project managers and help people with our vision of connecting the entire worldwide project management community. And if you have any other ideas, please share them with us. Any other questions, Kay?
Yeah, there's a number. We could probably keep going for as long as you'd want, so feel free to cut us off whenever you think is appropriate. We have some good comments here in regards to it'd be a good idea to associate all of the project management associations like IPMA and Prince2 and PMI and others together through International Project Management Day, as well as some comments about the Apprentice show and Donald Trump in regards to Bill Rancic spoke at Atlanta PMI a while back, and so if you don't get Trump, maybe folks who are on the show could be people who also might want to tap into.
Yeah, that would be great. And, you know, especially the people who actually won. One of my kids actually would be excited if I was able to get Brett Michaels to talk to us, because he actually was one of the big winners in Apprentice with his programs on new products. So that's a great idea, and I didn't think about that.
Great. All right. So there's a few other ideas about ways to broadcast on IPM Day and try to get something that everybody can participate in, virtually, in regards to, and can we also get entire countries to combine together? There's a comment about, can we get all of Africa to work together on an IPM Day event?
Well, you see, just to stay on that, I mean, these are great ideas, and this is really moving us forward to the total vision of IPM Day. But these things take time and a little bit of work, so they're great suggestions. And if there's a way that you can help us do it by planting seeds, by sending emails, by just reaching out and telling your associates about IPM Day and even refer them to the web page. What we want to do is we need to grow the community. We need to contact and using technology and things to do that. But these ideas are great. But like I said, it does take a little bit of effort, and everybody is working pretty hard on projects, and that's one of the reasons why we even have this in the first place. But if there's a way to take the ideas of IPM Day and spread them out and get that word out there, and when you receive a news brief or something, send it off to people that would not be receiving it, we can actually get this exchange going.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are no new questions that have come in, and so I might recommend that people who are inspired to sign up to become involved with one of the specific global roles, that we will be opening up a survey that will be seen through your browser as soon as we close this broadcast. And if you would like to get in touch with us by responding inside of that survey window or via email, then we will get back in touch with you to try to define what your interest level and what role might be suitable for you. So, so those would be the next steps for those of you who are interested in jumping on board as a volunteer.
Okay, and again, all these ideas, if you haven't registered at the website, the IPM Day website, you may have gotten this this invitation for this webinar in your email. If you go there and just sign up, that way at least we would be able to reach out to you through our news briefs and quick memos, and then again take those memos and pass them on to other people and help us grow the registration so that we can reach out to this worldwide community. And I'll tell you, there's going to be a lot of benefits to this. Whether you are a business or a training organization or something like that, your involvement in International Project Management Day will allow you to get some exposure to a lot of these other organizations and these people, and it would be beneficial. So IPM Day can be very, very mutually beneficial to everyone involved. And you know, like again, the focus is not about trying to make money or anything like that. It's really about this idea of recognition, acknowledgement, building the profession, getting youth involved, recognizing people for the work that they do. So we're going to be doing this on a regular basis, and in the future webinars, these future webinars will be tied to PDUs. They'll be educational also, and we'll also be looking for people that are interested in giving webinars. For instance, I know Frank Pollock and I know Miles, and I recognize many of the names that are on the list of people that have attended this webinar. If you're interested in helping us out by providing some kind of a webinar about how project managers add value, the value of the profession, anything along those lines that helps us get this message out, we would certainly appreciate your help. Okay, and I think that that we said we were going to try to keep this to 30 to 45 minutes, and we're just about at 50 minutes now. And I know people are anxious to get back to work. Any last comments or anything, Kay, that we need to address?
No, I just want to thank everybody for joining today, and we'll try to get back to everybody who's posted responses via questions and comments through the webinar, as well as those who respond in the survey or email. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of communication contact with you in the future.
Okay, I will be in Marseille, France in May for the PMI Leadership Institute meeting. I don't know if anybody here happens to be a PMI member or that's in EMEA, but if you happen to be there, make sure that you say hello. I'll be there doing a little workshop on, I think it's May 7th, but I'll be there for that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, and again, I'll probably record something from France and put that up on the website to really make sure that we have an international flavor to this whole thing. So I appreciate everybody being here, your attention and your support, and looking forward to hearing from you, and let's work together to focus on how to make it a bigger and bigger thing around the world, and to show appreciation for project managers. And don't forget the Project Manager Blues. Okay, I think you'll like that song.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
Okay, take care, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Have a great holiday.